Good to go.
Okay, first, do we have any adjustments to the agenda tonight? Are we good? We have a big agenda, so it's important, I think, sometimes we get chatty and off topic, so I think it's important we try to stick to it. Okay, and minutes, everyone's looking over the minutes right now. Does anyone have any changes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the July meeting.
Second.
Just correct my name is spelled wrong still.
I'll talk to you after the meeting.
So yes, so I'll accept them.
With the change of the name correction.
Yes.
You second it?
Yes.
Right there. Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good. Okay. So old business, the Quarry Hill Preserve event. The Blueberry event was very successful. She was just telling me in the office that the courts got cleaned out pretty quickly down here.
Good.
Yeah, good.
So I'm excited about that.
Good sign.
We got great reception on social media. And do you see people posting pictures of the things they cooked?
Question?
Yeah.
I shared that with the two big groups based in basically Rockland. Did that seem to help?
I can't tell if that helped or not, but I mean, it blew. We think we got overall. If I looked at the total yesterday, when it was 17,000 people, it
Yeah.
reached
Yeah.
as of yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it helped. I mean, every little bit sharing over and cross promoting helps.
Yeah, free blueberries is a kind of a guaranteed winner.
Yeah, it was
you know?
exciting, and there were plenty up there. You know, Will checked last week, and there were still blueberries there. So
Oh,
it's
good.
not like we were in danger of running out or anything.
Cool.
So I handed out a little like social media page, and I just thought, so the gray bar, the 7/13 is the day that the event was posted, and I kind of just broke down the columns so you understood like the daily new likes and the engagement and the reach, but it almost doubled after the Blueberry event, everything, which is really exciting because that boosts our page when people go to look for stuff like that or suggestions on Facebook. And you'll see that day we reached 7,750 people. That was pretty awesome. And then I'm not going to spend too much time on it. You can look it all over. I thought it was interesting. But then on the second page, to go along with that, it broke down who our followers are, and 48.3% of them are people from Waldoboro. So I thought that's good. Yeah, we're on a good track there, and we're still reaching out and connecting to other, neighboring towns. So it feels good. It feels like we're on the right track with our reach on social media.
We'll know we've really made it when we start getting followers from like Sweden.
Yeah.
No, that actually happened with the Waldoboro Garden Club page. We had like 15 international followers from Europe and whatnot.
I'll keep my fingers.
Well, it says 97.7%.
Yeah, so there must be two.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it must be
That's
2.3% from other countries.
I'd be happy if it were a neighboring state at this point.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I was impressed with the fact that right after it posted, there were immediate questions, and you guys got right back to them immediately. But they're questions of, is this open to anyone or just for Waldoboro? And, can we only pick in this corner? And the fact that you got back to them right away, I think it helped the excitement level.
Yeah. Well, I knew because when I started seeing it share, I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be big. And Max was the assist on that because we get a question, we're like, Max.
I know, because
Help us answer.
things change.
Sure, do whatever.
And I checked up there throughout the week, and I kind of moved your sign around because I went up and I was moving it to another spot, and the people are like, well, it's all out over here. Can we be over there? I'm like, yes, and please take pictures of your blueberries. And so it was good. It was a good reception. It was really nice to drive up there and see people up there and families up there.
Right.
And it is looking cleaner. We've gotten compliments that the the litter is minimizing, and we're really on a good track for Quarry Hill. So I'm thrilled about that.
Excellent. Okay, bad jokes aside, there's a disparity in the gender that's pretty stark. No, I mean, does that say anything about how we should be marketing things going forward?
I think it's a question too. That's a bigger question on social media and what platforms attract what gender,
Right.
what age group.
But I mean, do you think that boost was because it was blueberries or
And I think
Corey
sort of-
Hill
And I
specifically?
think
or-
family events.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
the women
Okay.
usually
Yeah.
do social-
Family-oriented events.
Family-oriented
Take the
events.
kids
They
up.
always plan the social
Yeah.
events
Okay.
for the families.
And this is the second page is who our followers are. We have 263 followers on Facebook, and this is a breakdown of who the people are that are following us all the time.
Yeah, so that wasn't limited to that one event.
Right.
Right. Very cool.
The one feedback, the one thing I guess is a question for maybe Max, and one lady said she's an older lady, and she had trouble going up there and picking in the heat, and she wondered why we wouldn't allow raking. And I didn't know the answer to that question.
I think the reason raking wasn't done, at least for the first year, is because we didn't know what the end result would be.
Mhm.
We didn't want someone to just go up, harvest all the blueberries, and
Yeah.
then just sell them on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wanted to make it more family. But if you're saying there was like all this stuff left over, what we could probably do next year is the hand-picked family orient day where it's just families going up, and then like next week can be people going up and raking.
Yeah.
whatever's left.
Open to, I'm hoping next year we can have our actual in-person event where we're up there with tables and courts and maybe an educational session.
And that might also be another way of just making sure that like it doesn't get overdone. And
Yeah.
if someone goes up and says, I need to rake because I can't stay out here too long, then we have someone to supervise.
To watch it, yeah. Well, and I think we could do it, I think we talked about it a little bit, we could put strings out so there are rows for the event, like blueberry pickers do. Like your family can go down this row, so it's helping with the quantity and limitation, but then allowing them to rake. Okay, so something to post event notes for 2022. Okay. Did anyone else hear any feedback that they want to share?
Just I like the questions and the answers that came back and forth.
Yeah, I did too. They're good questions.
Mhm.
And then open to public week. Awesome.
Yeah, I just heard a lot of people, families enjoyed it and they were happy to have that resource in town. So
Yeah, it was overall positive.
I saw a lot of kids up there, and that was good. A better event.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Just because we're on Corey Hill, did anyone who was up there picking blueberries make suggestions for like better parking, or how was the parking and everything up there?
When I was up there, it was all right. People had kind of parked over by the kiosk area, and they were still allowing pass for the driveways. So I didn't hear any feedback about parking. I've certainly thought about it up there
Yes.
and have some ideas. But
Yeah, especially, if it gets really popular and we get trails and stuff going, we might
Yeah.
need some additional
like
spots.
parking area. So maybe we can talk about that in more detail at our next.
And that would be something where we might partner with Midcoast Conservancy, because they have the Founders Preserve up there. And they might have some thoughts about ways of using the parking areas or extending it. If they might have a little spot on the Founders Preserve that they could turn
Yeah.
into a little parking spot.
Yeah.
So that's a thought.
I'm curious about the field area where Spears leases from the town. It's a very large field, and it would be really ideal for some parking or some picnic tables.
Are they using it for something or?
Yeah, they lease it from the town for vegetables.
For growing corn.
Oh, they are,
Mostly
okay.
it's corn, yeah.
Okay. So on to new business, town forest. Were you able to talk with anyone, Max?
I went online and they had a list of arborists who are like licensed, but every single person I called were either too small to handle a project this big, or they weren't licensed anymore to deal with it. So I'm still trying to find someone.
Okay,
So that's very unfortunate.
okay.
I did have someone who asked what size project we were looking at, and I couldn't really give them a good answer for that. Is this just like 1 or 2 trees that we're looking at, or is this like an acre or 2?
What do you think, Will? I mean, I guess it's something more or less that ideally somebody could walk it with us and tell us. I mean, I think Joan Ray was saying we at least want to focus on maybe saving the younger hemlocks and some of the ancient at the initial entrance, that grove, and then be selective as we move out which trees we want to pick. So
Did Carol,
8 to 12 trees.
did Carol, the entomologist, give any advice about?
Colleen, I haven't heard back. No, she didn't give advice about how many trees.
At the time that she walked in?
No, but she said the same thing, that entry in is probably the most beautiful part. Yeah. And also in the area where they would put the insectary if we got approved for that. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near an acre.
No.
In Hemlock Grove, so.
Yeah. Maybe we can send out. No, maybe we could map it and send a picture to Max.
And yeah, and what's the time frame on that? I mean, can we push this out if we have to? Are you talking about the ring around the trees?
Yeah. Well, it would be this fall or spring. It can't happen in the summertime, is my understanding so far. That the ideal would be to this fall cut back the path a little bit and do the treatment, if possible.
But we could do spring.
We could do spring if we had to, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
By fall, we mean like,
October?
yeah, after we've had a freeze, or,
I don't know. That's a good question. I was sort of hoping the arborist would be able to give us a better guideline on that, but Colleen and Joan had both indicated that you can't do this treatment in the summertime because they're not active. And it's most effective in the fall. And then I think in the late spring is sort of when like they lay their eggs, where we kind of see it all over the trees.
You would think it would be before a hard freeze.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah,
because they can't be active after that.
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, then you need to get them while they're active.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll continue the search. I wonder if there's a Facebook group or something that we could put a post out, like a conservation group that has suggestions of who.
I think next time I'll just call Maine DP directly and say, look, I'm not gonna keep looking through your list. I need someone now.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good idea.
DACF have anything?
I think it was Maine DEP. They actually have the list of all arborists in Maine who are licensed to do this type of thing.
Because I get the regular DACF newsletter, and they talk a lot about, pesticide applicators and pesticide applications, so.
I could try them as well. I think,
Okay.
and I'll probably just reach out to some other towns in Maine
Okay.
and see how many of them have had a similar issue, and they might recommend someone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can all look into it a little bit more about treatment, because if we can push off to spring and just focus on cutting back the trails a little bit this fall, that's at least progress. Okay, so the work date for the town forest, we need to finalize some trail and paint markings. A couple people have said at the turnoffs, it gets confusing. They don't know whether to go left or right because it still crosses old trails. And then the guy that has the neighboring, he's got trails that go through there. So we need to do that. I was just at the town forest last week and the leaning tree's still there. It doesn't look like it's coming down anytime soon. So I'd say that's all right. I had somebody suggest that if we were really worried about it, we should just reroute around it, which I was like, well, that's just easy fix.
Yeah. I think it's hung up pretty good right now. I'm not concerned about it safety wise.
Okay.
There's also another tree down on the trail.
Okay.
I saw that a couple days ago when I walked it.
Oh, it must be new.
It is, and it's blocking off the whole section of trail. I mean, I had to go quite a ways around, so I'm gonna have to take the chainsaw out there and cut that up.
Okay.
And that first, when you go left and you go down, there's that trail that goes straight. We thought it goes to the German church.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. It actually, or it might, but it actually crosses onto private property. Because I checked that out with the GPS. So we got to block that off. And there was some hikers on there that were actually wanted to go that way when I was there. And I told them, it loops around this way. So.
Yeah. We tried to block it off once and it got cleared.
Yeah, people clear them.
So I don't.
We need just clear markings.
Is that tree that you're gonna cut down big enough to put some logs across that?
It's not really close to where that turnoff
you'd
is, so it'd be more work than I want to do.
Okay.
But the people that own that property, do they use that trail? And maybe they were the ones who cleared it?
That's what I'm worried about. It might be a four-wheeling path.
Yep.
and
Oh,
it
yeah.
might be active for them, it's their property.
So,
Can
so
we put
signage maybe.
Yeah, can we put maybe a sign up at the tree turn where it turns and just say,
Yes,
You're leaving town property.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how the land trust, you are now leaving and you are entering private property, please
Exactly, yeah,
follow the
we
trail.
ran into some of those signs this morning. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have, what kind of signs are we thinking about using there, or have we discussed that?
Well, for this sign, I guess haven't really discussed what we want to do. Probably,
I do similar to what the land trust do, it's like a metal sign,
Yeah,
and it's painted, and it just says, you are now leaving
land trust
the
property.
trail, you're leaving the town property,
all right.
please take a left, or,
Yeah.
we can have whatever we want on it, but they're usually just metal signs that you nail to a tree.
Right.
Okay. So I can look that up and
Yep.
send some images and get a cost for
Mhm.
maybe even before our next meeting so I can get it ordered and we can get it down there.
yes.
Just a suggestion as an alternative, based on cost and quick availability, the signs made out of the same material as like campaign signs. You can get those made in Damascata, and they're real cheap, and
Yeah, that's true.
they're durable, and
Okay.
get them printed. Kind of a quick and easy thing.
Yeah.
You can get them, and you can get them in 8 by 10 sizes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that this month and get some answers emailed over and see what we want to do. I'll reprint the forest information kiosk. Some of it's washed away, some of it still looks pretty good. It's kind of a mix, so I'll
It gets
just
bleached by the sun too.
yeah. So I'll get that reprinted. So this is where I was kind of caught up. At first, I was thinking, oh, maybe we should try to, if anyone's available this Sunday, to do a couple hours at the town forest. We also have Dutch Neck Marine Trail that needs some finalizing. So then I don't know if you're interested in splitting up and doing two groups, town forest and it, to try to do them both this week, or if we just want to focus on one if anyone's available. Does anyone have any thoughts?
This Sunday, I'm gonna be at a picnicky kind of thingy, whatever.
I don't think I have anything specific going on
Saturday.
any day of the week for pretty much for the rest of my life. But,
Well,
but I'm through with this past week. I kind of jammed everything that was not gardening related into kind of one week. So
I have an event. Well, I'm going to be biking on Saturday, so I won't be around. But I was thinking I'm going to be at one of our properties, like 9 to noon on Sunday, August 8th, and they all need work. So at this point, I feel like we've been highlighting the town forest and the quarry a lot, so it might not hurt to spend some time down at Dutch Neck and finish that project, finish the markings.
I really need you guys' help to find the other trail.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
gotta do
because I've
that.
been
yeah, what time were you thinking about?
get the
Sunday?
9 to noon span
On Sunday?
for me. Yeah, I'm gonna devote some time. So
That's on Sunday.
yeah, you're working.
We're camping over at HVNC, and Sundays are our get everything out day.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's just my time. So if there's another time that you have open, we've talked about this before, just shooting everyone an email and being like, hey, I'm going down to this property at this time. And then anyone that's able to join comes down, or if not, we've done some individual work.
That's kind of
So-
the way we do things with the garden club.
Yeah.
yeah, this
Yeah.
weekend's gonna be hard for me to get.
Yeah.
Just because we're out there with a bunch of kids.
So
But, next weekend, I think I could do either day.
okay.
But that said, I can always go down and just work alone.
Yeah.
If you guys have like an area that needs work, attention, just let me know what it is and what you want done, and
Yeah.
let me
We
know.
could, we'll stay in communication
Yeah.
through email. So I think if I'm going to be alone, I'll probably stick at the town forest.
Well, I can be at Dutch Neck if you want.
Okay.
It's up to you. Just make up your mind, shoot me an email, and I'll,
Okay.
unless a contractor shows up out of the blue
Yeah.
to do something that we wanted done, I should probably be able to be there.
Well, where are you at?
Well, I mean, I might be able to work in the town forest someday for a little while. I can cut that tree up and stuff.
Okay. And you've got the spray paint, right?
I have the spray paint.
Okay.
So do you want to do the town forest?
Yeah, let's plan on the town forest on
Okay,
Sunday then,
all right.
9 to noon.
At the following weekend, I'm available both days, and then we could put Dutch Neck there.
Yep,
Yeah.
that'd be better.
Yeah.
I think I'm available. I can't. We go into preview week for auction, and I might have to work it. I don't know right now. I think we're waiting on the staffing. So tentatively for me, but do you want to stick with a Sunday?
Yeah.
Like a 9 to noon Sunday?
I think that works.
Okay, so I'm going to put that August 15th, 9 to noon. And I would like, well, maybe not this round. I do want to start posting them as an event on Facebook. So if we get some volunteers to show up to help offset some of the workload. But maybe not. Maybe this round we should just internally get some work done and figure out what we need help with.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds fair.
The George Gould Trail, which is a much bigger project, much bigger clearing. I don't know if we want to set a date for it. Doesn't have to be August, of course. If we want to table it and talk about it next meeting, but it is another central trail that I think we should start prioritizing and getting clear.
Actually, after all that talk about AD Gray
Yeah.
turning into a,
The park.
playground.
Yeah.
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 But that is a bigger work situation. There's a lot of blowdown on it. It does have wet parts that need better boards put over the wet parts. And I know the Midcoast Conservancy Trail Crew, they work on Wednesdays. Wednesdays at 9 they meet, and then they go out from there. Now, I don't know if it's worthwhile for us to go out and just document what needs to be done, and then have some of us that can go out on a Wednesday join them just to
Yeah.
go through the list.
Do you want to touch base with them, Karen, and
Sure.
see if they are interested in?
Yeah, and Charlie said they like reaching out to other groups and helping with some of the things within this area. They're
Okay.
kind of Madomic Council, so the Waldeboro area,
Okay.
but they want to help other groups.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just trying to. It'd be nice to just kind of get an ETA of like, oh, we're not going to be available till October to
Right.
help, and it'll give us some time to
They kind
build
of plan a week ahead of what they're doing for the next week. So
Okay.
they go week by week.
Okay.
So I'll talk to Charlie and see if he'll put it on his calendar.
Okay.
And so if we have their Wednesday on the calendar, we can try to go out there ahead of that.
Yeah.
And just for documentation
pictures
purposes,
and
just to,
notes.
just to say, this is the kind of thing, and that there may be some things where we say, well, let's get a work around this blowdown,
Yeah.
and then let's cut through this blowdown, whatever it may
Okay.
take. And then
When do you want to go out? I mean, because I can go with you if you want to do the walk around documentation.
I'm gonna wait until we know what their schedule is,
Okay.
Yeah.
because it's, right after all this rain we have, it's pretty wet there now.
Oh, yeah.
So now is not the ideal.
So
And
that's,
Charlie's schedule will probably be a couple weeks, it'll be into later August.
Okay.
So but I'll get a date from him.
Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next one. We're just calling Conscom stewards. So we've kind of dabbled with it a little bit, but I want to nail it down. This meeting is the potential of each of us being responsible for checking up on 1 or 2 properties each month. A lot of us are already going out to them, so it's just another step, really. I made an example form if anyone has any input or want to change, but that's kind of what I was envisioning. It's just a if you're going to a park, here's the park side of it. If you're going to a trail, here's the trail side of it. And just some general information. Is it clear of debris? Are there any fallen down trees, invasive species, branches? Is the area in good shape? Trash some a lot. Do we need to do a special cleanup? And any notes, like any reports back you have. And kind of like what Steve was saying, like, well, I know for the garden club, he's already going to these spots, so maybe he'll want to do those. And so is everybody interested and on board with that?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, and so you were saying you want to do the town landing, Steve, and the rest area,
Yeah.
right?
well, yeah, it's like I'm over there both places at
Yeah.
least twice a week.
No,
so,
that's great.
Yeah.
And then Will, why don't you do Quarry Hill,
Okay.
because you live up near that way.
I'll do Dutch Neck.
Dutch Neck for you, Karen.
I could do the George Gould Trail,
Okay.
or what else needs to be done?
Well, I'll take the town, that's kind of it, for now anyway.
Cool.
If we can get that under control,
I
maybe
can
we can
walk there from
expand.
my house.
Perfect.
Oh, cool.
That's perfect. Look at that.
And that way, once a month, we'll have, updates of.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that every,
Eventually, we have to get the Dutch Neck Trail kind of done, just-
Yeah.
I'm hoping that every next meeting we can bring our reports and go around, and I'm gonna keep a notebook of them, so that way, if somebody says anything to the town about what's going on, we can look back on what we observed too, and yeah, I just think it's good for,
Yeah, if there's anything really substantial, we could take pictures, like when they had the fire at Quarry Hill,
yeah.
and, when something weird happens, or
there. Yeah.
mattresses left behind. So things like that, we can take a picture of, just so that we see, that it's increasing, or it's decreasing, or.
Yeah, I love it. I'm excited about this, and especially since I think Quarry Hill got me really excited. I'm like, okay, with more people around, with more observation, it's working. So let's keep on that
Less
trend.
vandalism.
Yep. All right, so that's good. So one of our bigger topics of tonight, naming the rest area by Hannaford. So I saw that the select board is willing to hear new names, and they want us to make a recommendation. I have the idea of taking tonight our top 3 to 5 names that we like as a committee and doing a survey on Facebook so the community can have some input on what they'd like it to be called.
Sure.
And then taking the top choices to the select board. So everyone,
Just one point that I thought of on the way over is that I don't think we actually need to necessarily to have rest area in the name that we choose, because regardless what name we choose, the locals that are already using it are going to continue amongst themselves to call it the rest area.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So what we're naming is essentially creating an identity for people who we want to have come use it, but
Right.
maybe aren't yet.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, and we can go across the board tonight with our suggestions. I like that so many people already call it the rest area, that just adding on to that would, not reinventing the whole wheel on that area. But what were the top suggestions in all of our emails that everybody liked?
Well,
I have a list.
Good.
There was the Riverside Picnic Area, the Riverside Rest Area, the Madomic River Rest Area, the Madomic Picnic Park, and the Waldoboro Picnic Area. And I think on a map, it is
yeah,
currently
on the tax map, it's currently
called the Waldoboro Picnic Area.
Yeah, I don't, Max, is that kind of an official designation, official name?
No, I think it was just a name someone gave it, and Daryl just put it on the tax map. I don't think it was an actual official thing.
Okay, all right. Well, I prefer the ones that reference picnic, because again, I'm looking at the people who don't typically go there, maybe just locals who drive by, and by locals, I mean, maybe people from surrounding towns that are in town regularly on 32 and just don't pay attention. But also this time of year, tourists, when we have bicycle groups in town, letting people who aren't physically able to see it from where they're reading, if they see picnic area, that means something more than rest area, I think. Because rest area, for a lot of people, rest area means that little, the little place that you drive off
So do you
into
have
from
a
the
top
freeways.
one, Steve, that you'd like to see in the survey?
Well, you actually said the one that I had in my report, Madomic River Picnic Park, but you also said Riverside Picnic Park, so either one of those. Anything that kind of gets picnic park or area, and especially if it refers to the Madomic.
I prefer keeping Madomic in
Yeah.
the name.
I like Madomic River Rest Area. That's one of the ones I like.
Yeah, I like that. I do.
I like picnic.
Park too.
Yeah, Picnic
But I like
Park, is that what you
Madomic
said?
in the name.
Yeah,
Madomic River Picnic Park.
Madomic River Picnic Park or Madomic Picnic Park?
I like Madomic
I like
Picnic Park.
Madomic Picnic Park.
Yeah, okay.
That's my favorite, so.
Sounds good. Also, one of the notes in my report, I don't know, is the two things that we probably should in terms of highlighting it as a recreational area rather than just a rest area
Yeah.
are the riverbank fishing and kayak portage, because there are people, kayakers, that use it
Yeah.
all the time that, we just don't see. And of course, people fish in there all the time too.
I think we could get any signage for people, like
It's a good idea.
just a little square sign with a kayak or something to let people know you could put your kayak in here.
Yeah, the only thing is we want to make sure they're going up the river, not down the river.
Yeah, I think,
Good point.
Yeah, I actually do have updates, because I think it's in the minutes. That's a grant that I'm going for to try and get a little temporary thing with some signage. The pre-application was submitted, so I'm submitting a formal one on like the 15th, so hopefully we'll get that.
Perfect.
And that would be the little fishing platform.
Yeah, a little temporary
Sign.
seasonal float.
And a way to take a ramp into the,
Yeah, signs to point people out,
Cool.
put some riprap at the
Oh,
beginning, and then like some barbed wire fencing that would go across and then down.
yeah, there'd be, That would be
with
good.
gun towers on both sides.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Flamethrowers. And that forces them to go in.
So I just want to make sure. William, did you have a preference on one you liked more than the other?
Not really. I mean,
Humor me.
I think,
She's giving
I
you
think we
that
got a
look.
few good ones if you just put those up and see what people like the most. But I like Madomic Rest Area or Madomic Picnic Park. Either or definitely Madomic.
Max?
No, I mean, they're fine. I didn't know if there was a different title people had that sort of leaned away from picnic area or picnic park or rest area, just because that might be someone saying there's something that doesn't include those.
Right.
I was trying to work in our pocket park name suggestions, alewive outlook on one. So when you're doing when you're on the highway and they just have like those little outlooks, that's what I think of sometimes, those little pocket parks, and I know that's
That actually might be a good name for when Elm Street's done.
yeah.
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 yeah, that would be
That's
fit the
cool.
industry.
Yeah. Well, I'll do the post maybe next week. So if there's anything else we think of. Right now I've got written down out of the ones that stood out: Riverside Picnic Area, Madomic River Rest Area, Waldeboro Picnic Area, Madomic Picnic Park, and then Riverside Picnic Park. Those are the ones we want to put in the survey? Okay. Do I need to make a motion on it, or does anyone need to make a motion on it? We don't have to vote on that?
I don't,
or-
you
You
just,
could do, just a little quick vote that says,
Okay.
if they're fine with you.
Yeah, I'll
I make a
Just-
motion
just
that
the
we
listening.
accept
we
that
get
list.
Leslie
Yeah.
to do a survey on Facebook for the name of the rest area.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. So then, pocket park signs. Steve, you had kind of mentioned this last week.
Yeah, I kind of in the absence of knowing exactly what others might have had in mind for a sign for some of these parks. For me to attract attention to, and I, sent the photos, but to attract attention to that, the picnic park or whatever we're gonna call it, for people who usually just drive by it. Just something that's fairly large that you can see from a distance, that is, very simple, like if it ends up with Madomic Picnic Park or Madomic Picnic Park, but something, like 3 feet by 6 feet, and bright colors that can be seen from a distance, because when you're coming out of the Hannaford, or you're coming onto Route 32 from Route 1, going down that way, within the first 30 feet, you're looking directly at that first picnic table, but it's dark there. you know, and the picnic table is dark brown, and unless you're looking for it, you won't see it. But a sign right confronting you from that corner, yeah, you could see that pretty quickly when you turn onto Route 32. So what other types of signs did people have in mind, if any?
Well, I think the signs that we have for like Dutch Neck and Quarry Hill, those are kind of big, beefy, and they're wooden, and again, they're not bright, they don't capture your eye that easily. And these are smaller versions of, they're not trails, there's not, so a smaller version of those, but maybe color-wise, we talk about some like brown with gold lettering or something that has a contrast to it.
Yeah, could be.
And then it could be, you know, metal signs or something. It doesn't have to be the big wooden structures that those ones are. It could be something smaller and something that would work on a metal post.
What
Well,
I
I
like
think-
about the, oh, sorry, Steve.
Oh, go ahead. I was thinking about that. You know, like the town forest sign and the Dutch Neck sign they're really, I really like them. They're really nice and dignified, but, and I think they're good in an area where people are going slow and or walking. You know, so something like that for, say, the West Main Park, or even Elm Street, because that's theoretically people are going slow there. Doesn't always happen. Matter of fact, it probably rarely happens, but you know, and something like that would be, you know, would kind of give both of those places kind of a
Uplift,
a little uplift. But you know, for something like the picnic area, you know, I think that we want something a little bigger and brighter. That's just my
Are
feeling.
you talking more like a small mural, or?
No, just I mean
just
it.
a bright-
Like his shirt,
brighter
like his
color
Yeah,
shirt.
it's
sign?
something like this.
Although that's kind of a neat idea too, having the sign, like a mural sign with the
Well,
names on
yeah,
it.
you were describing it,
involvement.
and that's what I was picturing, was like a mural,
No.
maybe with a sign on
No.
top of it.
Yeah,
With
no,
words on top of
pretty,
it.
really pretty basic. Like 3x6 isn't that big when you get, you know, a couple
No.
hundred yards away.
Right.
And you know, just block letters, no cursive, which you know nobody reads anymore anyway, right? And maybe you know, like kind of above a box bed or some sort of a flower bed just below it that we can keep right with annuals. And if we use it, we could, well, there are plenty of rocks out at the yard, right?
Yeah.
We could build something out of rocks for nothing as long as we can get the rocks there. But if we went with a wooden box bed, kind of like the ones out in front here that are the children's garden, we could go the extra step and on the box bed say, you know, Riverside Fishing, Kayak Portage, so that as people see the sign and they get closer, they see that, and they're, at that point, they're at the entrance, you know.
I like that idea.
Okay, just to,
So do you want to do some research on signs?
You're already doing that, aren't you?
yeah, I'm kind of doing that. I mean, if by research you mean like
Get some
cost
ideas.
it out.
Yeah, get some ideas of what it would look like, and then
Sure,
find
I can
out what
sketch
kind of,
something up. I'm gonna do that for the,
then see if you can find out what kind of prices are involved, or
Will, did you say Public Works did our other signs?
yeah, that's
no,
something.
the Voss Signs made those,
Voss
the
signs?
Dutch Neck and the Quarry Hill. It was Scott Bird
Scott Bird.
contacted them to do it, and apparently there were like 15 phone conversations for them to get it right.
What I
It's
like,
just
the one thing I do like about those is I like the icons. Like you can hike here, you can,
Yeah.
and when I think about like fishing in parks, that's kind of what I look for. Like I go to a park and I'm like, oh, it says I can bike, I'm going biking, you know, and that's what I'd be looking for. It's like a fishing icon or a kayak icon.
And you could have those icons added to any kind of sign that you might have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true. Is just a large board sign, is that something that the DPW could do?
Probably. I mean, let's run it by John, but
Okay,
Draw something up and see if you
okay.
can.
yeah, just let me know.
I'll sketch something out or do something and
Okay,
So
so
build
or something.
They'll
Steve-
build the planter too, you know.
Yeah, I know.
over the next month, you'll look into some sign and planter designs?
That's a nice idea, because the plants would draw your eye there anyway.
Yeah.
And then if there's a nice bright sign, it'd be more noticed.
Do we need to vote on that? Okay, and then, so networking with other conservation groups was a conversation we were kind of having through email over the last couple of days. Who wants to talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I've been to a couple of the Mid-Coast Conservancy events lately, and I've not attended any of the Madama Council meetings, which is one of the groups. And but I am still considered a council member, so I'm going to start going again, and listening to some of their projects and hearing what they're doing. They're partnering with the Lincoln County Regional Planning Commission in their regard to the climate change issues, and they're helping with some of the survey of the land, you know, kind of like giving them information about what they know of their properties and things of that sort. And I thought we might be able to help out with that too. And I was thinking that, again, in partnering, since the Madama Council Trail Crew is willing to help us out with some of the trails, that it would be nice if we introduced ourselves to them. And not necessarily saying any particular projects or anything, but at one of their meetings, and they meet once a month, it's on Monday evenings at like 5-ish time frame. And if there were a time when we could get our group together and just go there, again, we wouldn't have to be there for the whole meeting, but if we showed up for whatever time they want us there, 5:30 or something, and we introduced ourselves, said who we were, what kinds of projects we're working on, very briefly, that might give us more credibility when we're trying to partner and do things in the future.
Yeah, I see that. I can see that.
And they're trying to, I know the new executive director that they have wants to use this local office a lot more and wants to do more projects within this town, just to get more community involvement. And again, the Madama Valley Land Trust used to partner a lot with the Fish and Game Club, with the gun club, the snowmobilers. We used to partner with a lot of the groups that you wouldn't necessarily think go hand in hand with the land trust, but we found a lot of commonalities in just trying to protect land and trying to recreate and help people find things in the land that would excite them so that they care about conservation. So I think there's something to be said about partnering with other nonprofits that have similar goals.
Yeah.
And just to get to know them. I thought, you know, if they knew us, they might think more about, oh, well, why don't we ask them what they're doing about that? Or, you know.
Yeah, I like the overlapping interests kind of thing, you know.
And again, it doesn't have to be this summer. That could be something we do this fall or something when all the groups aren't quite as busy.
Yeah, I love the idea of it. I kind of, like I said in the email, is I think we have some internal improvements to make before we start reaching externally. I'd love to go to them and say, these are the projects we worked on. This is what we've completed. And I just don't think we've got enough completed underneath our belt. And like when we started on the town forest, there was a land trust and a conservancy that reached out and were like, we're really interested in working with you on this. And we just still don't have it together. And they were getting a little impatient, I think. So I don't want to be to that point where I don't want to lose them either, these people that are interested in networking with us. So my suggestion in email is like, maybe it could be our winter project, like December, January, February. Let's start talking about for 2022 who we want to start going to some meetings and connecting with. Because I think by December we'll have some.
Yeah, we'll have accomplished something.
We'll have some stuff accomplished. We're on the right track. So, what's everyone else's thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's a prudent approach.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
But we're going to make the approach. The question is timing.
Right. And I also worry about getting, if they're going to help us with some hands-on projects, I think there's going to be some reciprocity. We're like, hey, can you help us? Like, we've struggled to do our own hands-on projects, so I worry about that. Social media, no problem. I'll help network them that way, or we will help them. But
I think we already do, because that yoga thing at the
Yeah.
Riverside
I
Park
try to
is-
keep an eye out on Midcoast I try to keep an eye out on a couple, and especially if it's something that's going on in Waldeboro,
Mhm.
I share them over, or events that Midcoast is doing.
So is the Conservation Commission page subscribing to those other pages?
Yeah, I've got
Because that should show up in the,
Yep, they'll see that. Yeah, they see.
yeah,
that.
in
They don't-
the timeline of the background news feed, and then you can share their posts from that.
I search it too. I just
Okay.
like in the morning I go through the social media and I look through the events that I share them over. Yeah.
Kind of what I was doing. with the-
As an
Yeah.
aside, also, Bennett Collins was just voted the president of the Potomac Council.
Oh, great.
And his wife happens to be part of the Bremen Conservation Commission. And I am going to, when we get to the point where we're thinking of, introducing ourselves, I would like us to also meet and get to know the Bremen Conservation Commission. And they should also get to know the Midcoast Conservancy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And again, when I go to council meetings, I can bring information to our group about what they're doing that might impact us. And I'm sure he would talk about it to his wife so that they would know.
Yeah.
So I think
Great
we have
networking.
we have good kingpins in the right place to give, to share information. So
And
that'll be
and
helpful.
ideas of how to go about things
Right.
too.
And also the Bremen Conservation Commission has done some things that we are doing in a different way.
Yeah.
And we could learn from them.
Absolutely.
Because they had all the signs that they have put up at their preserves and all their places were all done by prisoners.
Neat.
Ooh.
That's neat.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good idea. Neat. Good. All right. So does anybody want to make a motion about this big project being maybe a December networking
I don't think we have to make a motion. I think
We
we'll
don't have
just
to do
put it on
anything
our,
with
it'll be part of the agenda
Yeah.
when we
for
get
the?
to it.
Do I have to keep
It'll be part of
repeating it
the
on the
minutes.
agenda until December, or just?
No, it would be part of the minutes from this meeting. And
Got
then at some point in time, you would bring it back onto the agenda.
Rachel, I'm learning. This is new for me. Okay.
And one of the things, at one point, Scott Bird wanted to keep track of things a little bit better about who was doing which thing because it wasn't necessarily the next month. So we wouldn't necessarily be talking about it the next agenda. So he made this a task list.
Yeah.
And if you want to make a task list and put, so-and-so, so-and-so,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be all you.
I'm going to do that. I think I mentioned that to you guys that after meetings, I'm going to try to be committed to touching base through email of what we've all kind of agreed to do, what's in the pipeline. So we keep on that.
And you can make that separate from the agenda, so a
Right,
task
that's-
list isn't necessarily everything
Correct.
that's gonna come up at the next meeting.
Yeah, correct. That's my plan. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so moving on, we're doing pretty good at time. Comments from members. So I didn't know, well, especially because now we can hear Steve's report. He's done his report.
okay.
This is kind of where I was hoping this would be. Like at the end, we could go around and touch base on what we've been.
All right, well, everybody got it via email, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've all read it?
Well, I didn't get. I mean,
Did you
Okay.
send it out
Okay.
today?
Yeah, I just sent it out a couple hours ago, so,
Right.
all right,
Email
but
me.
for the record, okay, so the two areas that I'm going to be reporting on, the Pine Street Landing and the rest area. The Pine Street Landing, aside from ongoing regular watering of the flower pots, which admittedly hasn't been a lot this month, but believe it or not, even after like an inch and a half of rain, the third day later, those pots need to be watered because at this time of the year, they're mostly root and very little soil and they dry out really fast. So anyway, so there's, excuse me, still watering that needs to be done. But anyway, the most pressing issue that I'm sure that we can work on right now is reducing the weediness. And Carol Hare of the Garden Club and I, over a period of about 10 days, 2 weeks, between us spent quite a few hours going through and moving the rocks and digging up all the weeds that were starting to make the pots disappear. Those big pots full of flowers, and there were so many weeds that there were a few of them that were, can you see that pot there? It was that bad. So, and then we're going to try to make some improvements, better, less permeable covering, and then wood chips between those boulders where the pots sit, to hopefully hold down the weeds a little better and for a little longer. And then eventually, hopefully this year yet, build some just really simple low platforms out of, 2x10 or 2x12 PT and level them up, and so that they can just stay there. And then next spring, when I bring the pots back over with all the new flowers, I can just put them down instead of having to shim them with rocks and stuff like I've been doing. And then eventually we're going to have to figure out a way to get rid of more or less permanently all of the weeds that are growing up through the landscape fabric / weed barrier and riprap. Because, the whole point of doing that was to get rid of the weeds so that it would be, even if it was industrial looking, it would be, clean. And that hasn't worked out exactly the way everybody envisioned. Okay, so the rest area, there's really not much to report on that. The poison ivy is still there and still growing vigorously. I think the volume of trash there has diminished a little bit. I'm still picking up, some stuff from Dunkin' Donuts and the occasional, mini whiskey or something, McGillicuddy's or something, and there's still a lot of cigarette butts by, underneath the picnic tables, right around the picnic tables.
Did you see the anonymous donation of the cigarette butt or something?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. Who's emptying that? Anybody?
That's the next step.
That's usually
Okay.
the question that whenever someone says, why can't we put a trash can there, the question we always ask is, who's emptying it?
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And how often?
Stops it.
Right.
Yeah, good point. Anyway, and but the garden is growing nice. I mean, everything in there is really happy, and we did such a nice job prepping the soil that it hasn't needed water at all, and it really hasn't needed weeding yet. There's some weeds around the edge, but in the main part of the bed, there's zero. But I kind of looked over things around the fence area, and there are places where we could use a weed whacker on a little more regular basis to keep, a path down to the actual riverbank between the fence and the water a little bit clearer, ease the access for some people. I think there's that, excuse me, there are the couple of fishing spots that are where the bridge used to be. And then to the right of that, going towards Mill Street, there's that other section of fence. And the couple of kayakers that I've seen have kind of gone down there. But it's a little bit hard at this point to figure out, where to step, because the weeds are all the same height. And if you step a little bit too far towards the river, it's a drop off like that,
Yeah.
And that's something to look at for the future, is maybe get in there with a string trimmer.
Are you saying all that right by where the old bridge is, like where they walk down the sides?
Well, there's that, and then towards the Mill Street side, beyond that, then there's the fence.
Yeah.
And then I see people going around the far end of the fence.
Really?
And then going down to that.
That's how we load our kayak in when we did the big,
Yeah.
it's right on the opposite side of the fence. It goes down, but then it does drop off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's take a look over there sometime. Yeah. Other than that, and I usually do a little walk around looking for trash, because people still do throw things out of their car, then they end up in the tall weeds on the river side of the mowed area. And I try to police that a little bit. I haven't seen a whole lot there, but there's still stuff along the roadside. That's about it.
Well, this is a great report, Steve. Thank you. It's nice to hear. No, it's really nice to hear an update. Does anyone else have any comments they want to share?
I can just touch on a couple of those things. The string trimming, Public Works might be able to do that.
Okay,
If that's being used by the public and it's all overgrown, then
yeah,
might be able to get that mowed down.
okay.
The poison
And there's
ivy,
no poison ivy on that side?
right, and the poison ivy
Yeah.
is going to be taken care of by Public Works.
Okay,
They're maybe towards the end of the month, maybe September, they're gonna be doing some work in town, actually at the Elm Street, that building, taking
Oh,
that
okay.
down.
okay,
While they're down there, they're gonna go over the excavator and they're gonna kind of scoop that poison ivy out and replace it with some loam.
Oh, cool.
So that was John's idea, to
That's a good
kind of get
idea.
rid of it without having to use pesticide or
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
having to rip it up by hand. And
yeah, an excavator would be
That's
perfect for that.
so that is in the works.
Okay.
But like I said, end of August, but maybe September, depending.
Maybe cover the loam with wood chips
Yep,
even,
yep.
you know, that, some sort of sheet mulch. I mean, if you use wood chips, you know, standard weed barrier isn't bad,
Right.
you know, because the wood chips keep it absolutely dark underneath
Yes.
there, whereas
Yep.
light gets through the rocks. So yeah, that would be great.
That's gonna look really nice.
I know, that's so
Yeah.
super.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
That's
Wood
enough.
chip it.
And then
Yeah.
eventually to have a bench or picnic table or something at that Elm Street location, that'll be so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, well, that would be
Yeah.
really cool.
It's a real pretty view.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Cool, thank you.
The select board voted at the last meeting or at the beginning of July to do the work on Elm Street that were suggested. So they're gonna cut that down, I think it was in August, but it's probably gonna be in September with your timeline.
Yeah, maybe, depending. We got quite a bit of road work that we're doing right now, so it might be the end of August, but it might be in September at some point,
Okay.
depending.
Things get delayed by torrential rains every
Yes.
once in a while.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And
Understandable.
I should know, I submitted a grant for Dutch Neck Marine Park for the boating facility to try and widen that ramp and improve the parking. I should hear by Thursday, I think, if we got the grant or not, so waiting on that.
Wow.
That's exciting.
This is all really exciting.
I know.
Listen to us. Look at us go. Awesome. Great. Good. Okay. Let's see. Well then, so our next meeting, we'll plan on doing the trail report. And then the projects we all agreed to kind of work on, Steve, with your signs. I'll have results on the survey for the next meeting. Okay.
The next meeting, September 7th?
September 7th at 5:30 here.
That's, when's Memorial Day, or Labor Day?
Labor Day.
Maybe they weekend or-
First Monday and,
That would be the 6th.
yeah, so it'd be the day after Labor Day?
Yep.
Are we good with that?
Yep.